everybody for coming and being part of this launch. It's definitely a challenge writing 3 books with a pandemic in the middle. And she's got through because of the group in this room who are always asking about her book and how it's going. And it's really brought to life by the group in this room who are reading it. So thank you very much for coming and thanks for being here. So I was asked to actually do some trivia questions and share a few witticisms. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, good. Because I don't want anybody to miss out on the trivia. Okay. And then I get to introduce the star of the event. So the first question has to do with electricity. Okay. And we have a ringer in the room here, so okay. When did Toronto first get electricity? 1881, right on, good work. Okay, and an interesting fact is 86 years later, the Leafs won the Cup. Coincidence? I think not. Okay, so okay, ready? We're going to, this is more of a quote off of who wrote this. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself any direction you choose. Who wrote that?
Dr. Seuss!
Well done, Dr. Seuss. Who also wrote, I like nonsense, it wakes up my brain cells. Classic quote. Okay, okay, well, you guys got 2 for 2, well done. Now this one I might stump you on. What does oxter mean? I just chose a random, come on, you know this? Okay. Right on! Oh my gosh, I was going to give you a hint. And it's, we used these thousands of years ago to keep predators at bay. It's our armpits. Yeah. Oxter. So next time in a sentence you can say you have nice oxters. I don't really know. Anyway. Okay, well, I thought I'd get you on that one. This one I'm definitely going to get you on. How many writers does it take to change a light bulb? Well, basically, fuck you, they say. We're not changing anything. Anyway, without any further ado, I have the pride, the privilege, no, the pleasure of introducing to you an author who can trace her lineage back to William Shakespeare, a master of prose, the weaver of yarn, Colleen Winter.
Well, thank you. That was quite an introduction. I can always count on Ron for a unique start. Sorry, can't hold this to my mouth. Okay. So again, first of all, I want to thank everybody for coming. I always believe that the best part of the launch is the fact that you get to invite everybody that you really like and all your favorite to come and spend some time with you in the same room. So thank you all for coming to celebrate and just for being part of this. And especially, it seems to be a lot of mention of the pandemic tonight, but especially after the pandemic, it feels very, very sweet to have everybody in the same room and just enjoying each other. So enjoy the food, enjoy the conversation, enjoy the company. Yes. And so yeah, as Ron mentioned, it's having a large support network makes a huge difference when you're embarking on this kind of creative endeavor. And I appreciate all the words of encouragement, every inquiry on how it's going, everyone who reads the books, and of course the patience of those who listen to me moan about the writing life over the years. I lead a very charmed life to be able to even have the choice to write, and I appreciate you all nodding and smiling, and when I occasionally lost sight of that. But I have to admit, feeling a little bit detached from the fact that the series is actually done. Even though I've held the physical book in my hands, it doesn't quite feel real yet. Perhaps once I come fully into the next book, it'll start being more real.
Next book, okay.
Next book, right. So The Storm was by far the hardest of the 3 books to write. And there are times when I thought I'd be writing this final book for the rest of my life. I was telling people it was almost done for about 1.5 years. And I wrote pretty much the equivalent of 2 novels just to get the final draft and to do justice to the characters and to the plot. And also to the storyline that I developed in the 2 previous books. But, as with everything in life, the harder the challenge, the greater the end product. And I really do believe that this 3rd book is the strongest to date. So, apparently it was all worth it. But a word of warning to anybody who might be considering writing a trilogy in this room. It's probably a good idea to know that you're writing a trilogy before you start. I can't tell you the number of times I cursed my former self for what I'd written in the earlier books, leaving my future self to then have to deal with the problem and bring it all together. But I did finally, and I'm very, very pleased with the final product. So, there was 3 reasons why I wanted to write this series. First of all, as many of you know by the trivia questions, I work in the electrical industry. And even though I've been working there for a long time, I actually still think that the electrical grid is a freaking miracle. Eric can appreciate that. So the fact that, we can turn on the switch and we have electricity and it powers our houses and our cars and our phones and pretty much our appliances, pretty much everything that we want to do involves electricity. And I don't think it really gets enough credit for that. But I also think that, there's electrical signals all around us. So, there's satellites, there's the sun, there's the internet, there's our phones, there's the signals that travel down our nerves. And so I think there's also a lot of stuff that we don't know about electricity and the fact that we're all connected throughout these electrical signals. So what happens if we sort of change an energy source over here? How does it affect what's happening over here? So that was one of the reasons I wanted to write this series. The second reason was because I've always I wanted to write a story about an inventor who had invented something without really understanding the consequences of what they'd invented. And I wanted to think about what if you were that person? What would you do and how would you go about fixing what you've done? Hold on a second. And then, of course, finally, I wanted to write a story about strong, whip-smart women who use their intelligence and their skills to stay ahead of the people who are chasing them. Exactly. And without a lot of kicking and punching. So, and there's a lot of people after them because, energy is power, and so a lot of people are after it. So before I let you go, and back to your food and your conversations, I'm going to give you a short reading from the start of the book. And now I've been involved in an organization for several years called Voices of Word Up Barrie. And Linda, my co-partner, is here tonight. And as part of that, a few weeks ago, we hosted a performance workshop, which is about helping writers present their work and doing a better job. And one of the tips the instructor gave us was you have to tell yourself and your audience before you start that you have a great story to tell them. So, I have this amazing story. Okay, so here goes. Storm stumbled on the path, the vision of what she had witnessed in the clearing blocking out all else. There had been an excruciating, searing burn as the gatherer's corrupted field had stripped away her energy, leaving her bare and raw. She could feel the damage that underlay the wonder and the sheer awe of what she had seen. It had been a glimpse of what had brought all the people to the clearing. It wasn't a path, or a channel, or even the gatherer, but an awareness of something bigger, something so infinite it had shut out all else. Part of her wanted to go back for it, for even the slightest touch of it again. Yet the part of her that wanted to live kept stumbling down the path. She struggled to find the trail in the dark forest and used the rough bark of the trees as guideposts. She anchored herself to the wetness of the ferns against her legs and the strike of water drops on her face. When she reached the log they had climbed over on the way in, she pressed her hands into the wet sponginess of the moss and turned to let Maria and Amanda catch up. A new rush of rain pattered on the empty path. When had they last been behind her? She had no memory of their footsteps or their breath. She had seen only the spectacle of the gatherer, the exquisite upfront view of a tiger's face before it eats you alive.